So, I did go through and added some resources for you guys for this afternoon session. And so we only have an hour today. And so part of what we're going to do is we're going to actually go through teaching online and just some best practices for Google Classroom and teaching online in general. And so that's kind of like talking about how we can create those, how we can best support our students, and how we can have our students be as collaborative as possible. So we're going to look at that, but then I also provided for the different content areas. And one of the big frustrations is, well, what does this look like for me? How do I teach my content in Google Classroom and or online? And so I've thrown out a number of content areas. I know I'm missing like social studies and I'm missing science. And if there's a content area that you're really looking for, let me know. Um, we talk a lot here with the STEM CTE. There's a lot of music resources. So there's examples of what it looks like and examples of how people have used it, how they've taught in their content area. So let's go on to teaching online, and then we'll give you a chance to explore some of some of the other resources. So as you're following along, you can actually follow along if you are in our classroom for today. And so we've gone back to classroom.google.com. We're logged in with our account, our TZTS account, and you've already joined the class. So you don't have to worry about that again. You just need to click on the class and then classwork. We're doing assignment 003, which is teaching online. And the only thing you need to do for this is if you find something interesting, add a class comment, and then you can click mark as done when complete, and that's all you have to do. So let's go ahead and click on best practices for teaching online, and we'll kick it off. So one of the struggles that I have when I'm working on teaching online and pulling content together is it's like I know how to do this stuff face to face. How does it look in an online environment? And one of the authors that I've been doing a lot of reading with, and I follow her blogs, is Dr. Catlin Tucker. And she just wrote a blog post about the building blocks of an online lesson. And so she has a number of questions that she poses, and I just copied them in. So I'll make it a little bit bigger and give you a chance to read that. So go ahead and read that little section. And in the chat, note if there's any ahas or anything that you're like, oh, this is something I'm really struggling with, or this is something that I'm not sure how this is going to look in an online environment. Okay. So as we move through this now, we're really going to use this as our structure. Like how are we going to give instruction or modeling? How are we going to teach our learners what they need to know? And so this is one of those things where can you make a quick instructional video, or can you, or do you feel like you need to bring the students together so that you're all in one spot? One of the things that I teach the flipped classroom course, and my favorite lessons is from a family and consumer science teacher, and she made a video on how to thread the sewing machine. And when you think about that, that's probably something that she has to show people, I don't know, how many 100 times a year, I mean, and I know personally myself, I can sew, but there's things that it's like, if I get a new machine or if I'm not familiar, I mean, I have to look at the instruction book. And so it's like, oh, a video. So it doesn't mean that she's removed herself from the process entirely, but she's now said, here's a video you can watch if you don't remember how to thread the sewing machine, rather than having to stop, drop, and explain how to do that. And so many times an instructional video, a short instructional video, may be all you need to do, and students can move forward on their own. How do you have students engage with texts or podcasts? Can you do online discussion? And in Google Classroom, we have a number of different options. And then will you collect formative assessment data or to assess prior knowledge or check for understanding? There again, in Google Classroom, we have Google quizzes or Google Forms to do all that. And then do you want students to reflect on their learning and stretch their metacognitive muscles? We have so many cool tools that you can use. So the Google Slides that you're using to create your classroom and take that screenshot and everything, that's one way. But some of the other ways you can do this are using Jamboard, which we haven't looked at yet, but we will, and some of that other stuff. Do you have a question, Jack? Okay.
No, Jack doesn't have any questions. He was just going to, that was the snipping we did.
Oh my gosh, okay.
He just likes to talk with his hands. He's fine.
Glad you guys take care of each other. Okay, so as we roll on down, there are resources, and this is probably my favorite thing ever. Dr. Tucker put together a tools translation guide, and when I get the next 5 minutes of my life, I'm going to turn this into a more Google Classroom centric resource. Right now, it's examples of lots of different tools, and so it doesn't keep it necessarily within our Google world, but you can say, okay, I think this morning Edpuzzle was mentioned, and so Edpuzzle is something that, how can we engage students around video content? How can you capture video? And there's a couple tools that I prefer that she doesn't mention. And so these are the kinds of things that we can use as we are building our content for online or moving our content online. I love asynchronous discussions, so you can use your Google Classroom. We can use Google Slides. We can use a question. We can use video asynchronous discussions using Flipgrid. We can obviously, for our research, we can do some collaborative documents. We can use Google. So lots of different resources and ideas that we can use to help formulate our instruction online. So this can be a kind of a starting point when you're saying, okay, how do I make my instructions look? What do I do? Here are some examples. Okay, so let's go back. Oh, yes. But doesn't that seem overwhelming? Yes, yes, it does. So when we're teaching online and we're just starting out and school starts way too soon, one of the things that I've been really, really encouraging everyone is to focus. Use one tool for many things. And so, for example, Google Slides. If you get proficient with Google Slides, you can do so much with Google Slides, even if you're not proficient. I mean, it can be a collaborative tool. It can be a how you share information. It can be something that students actually fill out as they go. And so Google Slides can be a really great tool for you to become familiar with. Flipgrid is another one of those tools that I love Flipgrid because not only can we have video opportunities, so as a teacher, I can share my voice. The students can also share their voice. This can be a way to have asynchronous conversations. My youngest was a senior in AP Lit when March happened, and his teacher was already using Google Classroom, but she also relied a lot on the face-to-face conversations. And when they went online, she started using Flipgrid. And so she would post the question, and then the students would need to respond to the question via video. And they would have to answer. I mean, it wasn't, just a how are you today kind of question, but then they would respond to each other. And so it sounded, I'd be in the living room and I'd hear the voices out of my son's bedroom, and it was like, who's in there with him? It sounds like there's a group. But no, it was just his Flipgrid conversation. So it was really awesome to have that. And especially with high schoolers, many of them were otherwise occupied during the day or during class time, whether they were working or babysitting siblings or, doing other things. This allowed them to still be really engaged. So that is one tool that I can use lots of different ways, and I don't have to learn a whole bunch of things on top of trying to, move my content online. The other thing is you don't need to be the expert. Know the intent of the tool and allow your learners to take the lead. They're really, if we give them that ownership and that decision making, they will really do a good job and rock it. And so please don't feel like you need to be the expert on everything. This is a podcasting tool. You know how to podcast is. Your learners, give them the criteria, your learners will be more than happy to figure it out or struggle through that. And if they're not, these are those growing learning pains that we get to work through. And finally, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm always trying things, generally new things, with crews like you. So I'm like, oh, let's see if this works. It doesn't have to be perfect, but ask your learners, how did this work? Do you like Flipgrid? What do you not like about Flipgrid? You're going to hear a lot of kids are like, well, I don't want my face on the video. I don't like that. And it's like, you know what? That's okay. You can record your screen. You can turn it away, and you can record, the a piece of paper. You don't have to record your face. So many options, but asking your learners and see why they don't want to do something or how they like it. And then remind us all, we're all learning. That is where I'm really struggling, is it's just like there's so much to do right now. And it's like, but we're all learning. So remember that as we're diving into Google Classroom, as we're diving into this new school year, we're all learning. And we'll just keep coming back and making it better. So video is extremely powerful. And you can do so much with video. So it gives not only that connection with the teacher, but it allows your students the opportunity to re-watch the content. And so they have that capability to watch, pause, review, and you're not responsible for that. Less repetition for you. Everybody gets to hear the same message, and in many of the videos you have closed captioning, and so if your learners need that support, you have that option. um, I even use video in a classroom setting because if I give the instructions on video, it means, they're on Google Classroom. We can watch them together, while we're all hanging out. And then we can come back and it gives me a chance to walk around and check for homework. It gives me a chance to basically clone myself in the classroom. And so that is one of the original concepts of the flipped classroom was basically you're cloning yourself. And so if you make a short video and it gives you 5 minutes to do something else in the classroom, it gives you that power. So what would you use a video for? So introducing new content, and that is that, basically we are talking about new, this is our new math unit, this is our new science unit, I'm introducing content. And so that's what people often think about new content and how we would use a video. Other ways that we can use the video for are sharing directions. And so that goes back to the sewing machine example. Any kind of, science class, if you need to make sure that the students, you've gone through the safety instructions, that might be a really good video, because we can show you a couple different options of not only do they need to watch the video, but they maybe need to answer questions as they go. So you have some options. And then finally, that asynchronous conversations. Flipgrid gives us that capability to have those asynchronous conversations. So you can start the conversation and your students can have and respond back. So how to make videos, what to use, oh my gosh, can anything be worse? I hate making videos, to be honest with you, but I do it because I have to. And it gets better. The more you do it, the better it gets. Flipgrid. So let's do your participation tab. You guys remember your participation tab. So click on the people. I want to know yes, no, who's used Flipgrid? All right, so I've only got about 17 of you that have responded so far, and the numbers are only a handful of you have used Flipgrid. So the few that have used Flipgrid, would anybody like to unmute and talk about how you've used it?
Yeah, I used it this year. I took a Dakota learning class. It was amazing. All the questions he gave us were Flipgrid questions. So you had to answer the question through a video talk. I mean,
So
every question.
So you
It
were
was
doing
constantly.
language learning asynchronously, but you were speaking the language, is what you're telling me.
Well, I was answering different questions based on the readings.
Mhm. Wow. That's cool. I love that example, and that bringing in, being able to use the language and hear the spoken language is huge. So thank you. Oh, anybody else want to share how they use Flipgrid? Okay, I won't pick on anybody. So thanks for sharing. I love that. I love that idea of using it for your language. Okay, so Flipgrid not only allows you to do the student response, student videos, they have something called Flipgrid Shorts. Which are so cool, you guys, because you can make a video that's up to 10 minutes. It stores in the cloud. You have some really light editing capabilities, so you can do some editing. It's great for doing screencasts or videos, or if you use the app, you can walk around. Last week, I think one of the teachers, one of the special ed teachers I was working with, was going to record like in her kitchen to be able to work on life skills. And so she was going to take her camera and use her phone, and use the Flipgrid video on her camera to do that. So just amazing things that you can do with it. So I'm going to pop over to me as a account that has Flipgrid. And I'm going to go into Flipgrid right now. And so it's super easy to set up. The nice thing with Flipgrid is you do not it connects with your Google account or your Microsoft account. And so you don't have to recreate wheels or anything like that. It is owned by Microsoft and it is entirely free. And so at one point, when it wasn't owned by Microsoft, you could only do a limited amount of things and then you had to pay. So I'm really happy that it's free now. Okay. So they've just released a new Flipgrid, and that's one of the things where I'm still like, oh, this is a little different, but it's even easier to use than it used to be. So that makes me happy. You're going to see that we have the tabs across the top. And the thing that I was really excited about was the shorts. Shorts are, like I said, up to 10-minute videos that you can use to provide instructions. And so I've found that when people ask me a question anymore, like, how do I do this or how do I do that, especially a technology question, I'm really quick to go to my Flipgrid shorts and make a video. And so I'm not going to share the sound on this, but this tells you, it's 41 seconds. It models how to make comments on a slide. And so you can see it's super short. It's not a lot of, there's not a lot of fancy to it, but it gets us what we need to share. And then once I have this, I can copy it. And then you're also going to notice that I can share it to a Google Classroom. And so at that point, I need to share it to a classroom, and I'm in as me at TiGap, so I'll have to pick on something that I am in. So we'll do demo. I can choose an action with it, and so I can make it an assignment, I can make it a question, I can make an announcement, or I can create material. So we'll make it an assignment, and then I'm going to say go. And now it brings the link in. I can add my instructions, I can do everything, and I can assign it. And so it's super easy to integrate into your Google Classroom just by using that share to classroom. To facilitate that, I would really recommend setting up your Flipgrid account in your TZTS account so that it's just easier to integrate. But yeah, super easy. So I can also just copy this link and embed it in too, so I have options. Notice that I have the ability to edit my captions. So lots of different functions that I can do. Recording a video is so easy. It's going to GAC right now because I don't have, let me stop my video. Okay, we'll retry camera. So it's going to come up and it's going to say that I can record. So very simple to record myself. I can click anywhere to dismiss this. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the 3 dots beside it, because this is where I can upload a clip. So if I have a short video that I want to already upload, I can do that. I can do mirror video, I can turn off my audio, or I can record my screen. I record my screen more often than anything. So once I start screen recording, it's going to let me pick where I want, and then you'll notice that I'm the little image in the corner. Guess what? I can click the X and I can go away. Though it is important for the kids to see you. I get it, but I'm often on my sofa making videos late at night. So I can do my entire screen. I can pick a window application, or I can do a Chrome tab. I'll just do my screen real quick. And it is recording. And so now here it goes, and it'll show me, and I can review my edit if I want. I can trim it by using the handles here. I can trim it, so I can cut what I would need to. Once I confirm it, then I need to say next. I can, if I go back to edit my video, notice I can add more. So if I want to pause and, do something else and then, keep recording, I can do that up until 10 minutes. I am going to caution you that if you take too long to do this, it will not really work. And so if you're like me and you're like, oh, squirrel, and you go do something else and come back mid-video, your video, you'll need to start over from scratch. And then we can take a selfie, which, there again, I'm not into that. So you can click your 3 dots. You can do your, pick a frame and then say next. And then now I can add some effects. So I can add in filters, I can add in text. I do try to add in text because otherwise I won't know what my video is. So I add in text normally. And then I click on next. It uploads it. And you guys, it's ready to go. I can share it with you. I mean, not that there's anything to share, but super easy to make a short. And so this is a great way to go through your assignment. This is a great way to say, okay, you're going to do X, Y, Z. Lots of different options that you can do with that. So when you're creating videos, shorts are so easy. When we want to look at discussion, these are also super friendly. And so like Doc shared, you guys, he took a class. When you go in and create, you can create a group or a topic. Topics are where participants view and record their videos. Groups are where it allows you to organize and share multiple topics. And so, let's see. Go ahead and create a quick group. I can make it a public or a private group. So like a private group is great for class discussions. A public group would be for broader discussions. I can name it. The join code you can customize if you want. And then you have to pick what your, how your students will access. Because you guys are have Google accounts, I would use student email. And then you need to, let's see. Student email. I'm going to say next. And then it's going to ask me for the emails that students can access with. And so this would be at TZ. So I would put the email domain that you guys for your school. And then if you wanted to invite families or guests to join, you can enter in a password. So it's very simple to create it. Now I can select topics. And so I can duplicate topics if I want from other grids. And so this is awesome if I want to create a grid for one class and then be able to replicate it, I can do that. And so you have that option. So I'm going to skip this. Here is my Flipgrid. I can copy it. Remember that I also had the capability to share it to my Google Classroom. So I'm going to grab this real quick. I'm going to say copy, and I'm going to say go to group. So now what happens, I'm going to flip back over to me at TZ. And I'm going to go to Flipgrid, and I'm not logged in. And so this is how easy it is for your kids. I'm not logged in. I can enter a join code. And so that's that last part of my URL. And now I'm there. I have to pick with what account I want to join with. And so I'm going to join with my TZTS account because that's how I'm logged in. Everything's good. Click continue to Flipgrid. Got it. And here we are. So as a student, it is really easy for you to, get students going. It's not like you have to go through a ton of hoops or anything like that. They do not need accounts. Their email address will be sufficient to get them in. So when you're trying to figure out what kind of content you want, One of the things there is this discovery. I can go in and I can search all these different topics. And so I can go in and sort by newest, I can go by content area, I can go by audience, or I can just search topics. And so if I'm looking for something for high school, history, now I can come in and I can see all of the topics that are already created for high school history. And so if I want to, I just look at it. So was World War II avoidable? You're going to notice that this already has resources attached. So you've got basically a lesson. There are integration notes. And so you have that option. And then I can add this topic to, and I will add it to yours. Click on next. And here we go. I can change my recording time for anything up to 10 minutes. I saw teachers this spring use this as a way to record speeches, so students could record speeches. I can turn on video moderation, so I can allow students to, I can review videos before they're posted. I can add a different focus, and so if I wanted to include a video here, I could do that of myself talking. I can do student email. Here's all my attachments. I can remove them if I don't want them. I can edit them. Here's your control. I can schedule this if I want to, and so this one is live. You can't schedule it to the hour, it's over the day, but I can schedule these to launch at any time and close at any time. I can also give my students the ability to download and share their video if I want. I can receive email notifications when videos are recorded. I can also do some features where, can students edit? Can they make attachments? Can they like other videos? Can students reply via video to other students? Will you display the view count? And so when you ask about, can you see who's viewed? You can here display the view count. And then there's also feedback where you can actually bring in your own rubric, or you can use this. So this now is a topic, and one of the sweet things, it is a lot to take in. I am recording it. One of the really awesome things here too is you have Immersive Reader, and so if I click on this, it is going to read this page or read the text aloud to me. And so it'll pop up in its own window and it'll read the text aloud. And so such a great tool when we're working with students to provide those resources. Okay. So I am going to pop back over to me at TZTS, and I'll refresh this page because remember I just added a topic. And now you'll see that I actually have a response that I can record here. And so I could respond to this prompt if I wanted to. So super easy to set up and super easy to utilize. Really, really, really powerful tool for creating voice, adding voice, creating videos for your classroom. And once you learn it, you're going to have it. I mean, it's not like it's a whole bunch of moving parts. One of the things that I point out is it is integrated with Wakelet. And so if you do any curation projects, it does integrate really well with Wakelet. Microsoft Teams, obviously. And then there's a Chrome and an Edge extension. And so you have a number of options. Okay, a couple of other video tools that you can use, and we don't have time to go through all of them, but Loom is another one that I love because it is not only a Chrome extension, but it is also a downloadable app. There's a free and a paid version, and the videos auto-save to the cloud. When you have the slightly upgraded version, let's see. So Loom Pro is free, and they've kept it free. I mean, so you can do Loom Pro with they say a school email address, and so you may need to verify if they'll accept TZTS or not. I know it's school, but sometimes they're funny. And so I'm appreciative of this. But if we go in and we look at, let's see, I want to show me my pricing. I want to share, look at my accounts, and I can't, here it is, I think. If we look at pricing, yes, we can see all of the different options that you have. And so with the Pro, which is free for education, you can you get everything that's in basic, and so you can see screen and cam recording, the comments and reactions, viewer insights. Then you also get the drawing tool, calls to action, etc., etc. So you do have some functionality that you can utilize with this. The nice thing is it does incorporate, it records straight to the cloud, so you're not having to upload or try to figure out how to share. Other really great tools that you can use. I use Zoom a lot because not only I can record videos on it really easily, I know how to use it, I know how to interact with it, and so I just record to my computer and then upload to YouTube, or I can upload it to Google Drive. So lots of different ways that you can make videos. Considerations. So when we're making videos for our students, we really need to think about how do um, we need to keep them short. And so John Bergman, who wrote The Flipped Classroom and did the original teaching on that content, he talks about a minute to a minute and a half per grade level. And so you're looking at some really short videos. Good practice is, keep a distraction-free background, utilize clear visuals, but then also, your videos don't have to be perfect. I just said, I've had teachers who record themselves over and over because they say, uh, you just roll. The videos do not need to be perfect. We're human. We're not putting these out for, you're not going to go for the Emmy of Teacher of the Year. And the other really great thing is your videos will improve. The more you do it, the better they'll get. How do you make sure it works the first time? Prep a little bit. So plan a short script or outline. Make sure you know what you want to do and have your presentation kind of laid out. The other thing is practice on your software, and so play around. And the other thing, don't be afraid to try different tools. Try Flipgrid Shorts. You're like, yeah, no, don't like it, but I love Loom. Play around, try a few before you commit, because you may find one that just works really well for you and what you need to do. All right, so now how do we have students learn? So let's see. Jack, you asked about how do we know if students have watched a video? Oh, that's such a good question. First of all, we really need to work with our students to make sure they know how to watch a video. And so in the chat, tell me real fast. If you have students that are playing video games or students that are playing Minecraft and they get stuck, what do they do? And you can chat me up or you can unmute. Ask their friends, look for cheats. Where do they look for cheats at usually? Ask other kids. They crowdsource. No idea. Online, yes. They typically, I mean, YouTube's a big popular place. So when your same kids get stuck on or Twitter's another one, yes. When your same kids get stuck on a math problem, what do? Shut down. Yes, they do shut down. Tim says they Google the answer. They Google it. Yes. Many times they will Google it, but they may not have the patience or the desire to watch a video that they're not engaged in it. And so how do we make sure that they are watching to learn? So guided notes is one way, as you're going through. You know what? They could find a copy of the worksheet with answers online. You realize we're in an open book world now. And so we need to think about how we're teaching and what we're doing to what kind of questions we're asking and how our students can show what they know. You're talking to a girl who went to an engineering school. Every class, once you got up into your upper classes, there was a file with that class, and if you were lucky, you had multiple years of files. That was all the tests, it was all the homework, it probably was the notes. These were massive. And so you would go into a class and you would have all the content. I'd have all the tests, probably 10 years of tests. Did that mean I didn't do my homework? No. Did it mean that I could see how the teacher tested? Yes. Could I memorize all the different possibilities he was going to do? No. I mean, and so these are those kinds of things that, yeah, you know, they can find the answers. How do we make sure that we are still, giving them those opportunities to learn? So a few different tools that we need to make sure our kids know that they can use guided notes, they can start and stop the video, they can rewatch the video, and the last thing, and I need to add this on there, they can change the speed. They can speed it up. You don't have to watch this video at an hour and a half long. Watch it at 1.25, watch it at 1.5. You can control that. And so teach them how to be successful while watching a video to learn. Utilize notes. So many different resources and tools out there for notes. Cornell Notes is a note-taking process and I really love it because it gives you, I'll show you this picture. You take your notes, but you have a cue column on the left-hand side. You have your note-taking column in the center, and then you have, at the end, you summarize the class. Who doesn't think that's a good idea? To take notes where at the end we are doing a little reflection and summarizing what we learned. So Cornell Notes, I have a lot of teachers that will have their students do Cornell Notes when they're watching videos and actually have to turn the video or turn the Cornell Notes in as an assignment. So that's one way that you can make sure that they know they've watched a video. Sketch notes is another way that you can encourage students to reflect on what they know. I'm not good enough to sketch note while I'm listening, but I will do that. I will do it afterwards. Jack, you have a quick question?
Yes, I do. If this is something I've been having a hard time figuring out. If I have material that I want to put on the Google Classroom and say it's a worksheet, and all I can do is send it as a PDF file, I think it's what it's called. And how can I get students to, I mean, they can't write on it, they can't, so, I mean, can they just take Word document or something and
I'll,
like an answer sheet or something, and then what, hold up the sheet, take a picture of it and send it as an email, or what are
so
some possibilities, best practices anyway for,
we have a whole unit on that, and well do it tomorrow, actually, okay?
no, it sounds good. Okay, I can wait
So
for that.
awesome. You'll come back tomorrow. I like that.
I'll be here.
You'll
Thanks.
be here. Awesome. Okay. And then the last thing is, we're hanging out in Google. There are some amazing templates that you can get. And so Ditch That Textbook, which wasn't working this morning for you guys, worked this afternoon for somebody else and is not working again for you guys. They have some really great, he has some really great templates that you can just copy and use. And so graphic organizers, I would check them out. Look at them and see if there's something you can use. It may be blocked at your school. I've seen a number of schools I've worked with lately, it's been blocked at their schools. So if you can access it at home or ask somebody to unblock it, that would be great. All right, how do we assess if they've watched a video? So you have a number of options here. In Google, you can embed the video in a Google form and then ask questions around that. And so we will be looking at Google Forms a little more in depth tomorrow. But so that is one of the options that you have, is embedding the video into a Google form and then asking those questions. And so I'll show you guys some examples and give you a kind of a how you can make that work. You can also use questions in classwork. So I don't think we did a question this morning. Yes, we did. Remember the main video of this question? The main point of this video? That is how we could do that. We could ask a question and the students would need to, and obviously I would do something more elaborate than what's the main point, but answering the video, they have to watch the video to be able to answer the question. And so utilizing questions in classwork. Ed Puzzle is another option that it does. You can take a video, the link, and then embed questions, and they can be multiple choice, they can be reflection, all that. Insert Learning runs about the same way. Truly, I would not even venture out into any of the other things. I would stick with Google until you got it down, and then I would consider looking at something else. So save these resources and come back when you're like, yep, I can do Google in my sleep. I'm going to come back and look at other stuff. All right, so collaboration. Collaboration is so fun. So here again, staying within our Google realm. Jamboard is a tool that is part of the Google suite of products, and I've got a curated list of resources for you guys, and then I'm going to actually go into Jamboard because you guys can't not see Jamboard today. So when you click on your waffle, because it's part of the Google suite, it lives in your waffle. And there it is. So exciting. All right, so Jamboard, you create brand new ones by clicking on the orange plus in the circle in the lower right-hand corner, and that makes a Jamboard. And so here we have so we're going to start out with a elementary Jamboard. Quick tour, and then I'm going to make a couple more and I'm going to post them for you so you can hop on. Jamboard is essentially a whiteboard. It comes with a background that I can customize to a degree, and so I have like ruled paper, I have grid, I can make it be black, graph paper, so lots of options there. On the left-hand side, I have all my tools. There's a pen tool, and if I click on that, I can use a pen, a marker, a highlighter, or a brush, and I have numerous colors. I can erase. I have the select tool. I can do sticky notes. And so this is a great way to drop a, hi, how will you use Jamboard on my screen? And then now I've posted a question and I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller, I can rearrange it, I can change its color, I can come back and edit it, nameless, indefinitely. I can add an image. And so if I have an image that I have, oops, sorry. And so this is a worksheet that I've used previously, and it's saved as a JPEG. So this is a PDF that I've turned into a JPEG, and this is just a teaser for tomorrow. Now I have, oops, I don't want to tilt it. I want to resize it. Now I have added in a worksheet that we could write on, annotate on, etc. And then there's finally a pointer. And so if I want to, you know, use this as I'm drawing through, I can do that. Okay, I don't want to add another image. So I'm going to copy these real quick so that we can do more than one. And then I'm going to make a fast assignment and post it so you guys can actually get in and try out a Jamboard. And the reason I'm making copies is because we are limited. If I get too many people on, it doesn't really like it. And so I'm just giving each grade level a copy just to make it easier. All right, so now let's pop into our TZ classroom and let's make a quick assignment. And so I'm going to go up, I'm just going to make a quick assignment and I'm going to say Jamboard. How will you use this with your students? I'm going to add, and this is the best, you guys, because in Google Drive, it pulls it right up in my Google Drive. So here it is. I can add all 3 files at once. I'm going to insert, and then, oh my goodness, I need to remember that I want you all to edit this. This is a collaborative document, and so I'm going to give it so that you can all edit. Notice I could also give you each your own copy of the Jamboard. All right, we're going to make this no points. It's not going to have a due date, and it's not going to have a topic. So that means it's going to fly up to the top of the classwork. So it is now in your classwork. It is right there at the top of your classwork. And so you guys can go into your classwork, click on this assignment, view the assignment, and click on the Jamboard for your grade level, and you should be able to get in. Oh, Tammy, I see you're in. Tim, I see you're in. Nobody's in high school yet, or middle school. Ooh, look at you guys. And test it out. See what happens. You can't break anything. The excitement. You made it in. Yay. Oh, Rex, you're in the middle school one. Awesome. So what we did is this is in your TZ classroom. It is posted in classwork and it should be at the very top of your assignments, and then you'll just go ahead and click on the Jamboard that is for your grade group. Ooh, I like that idea. Digital poster projects. Yes. This math is above my pay grade too, so I hear you. Yes. Okay. So it is very similar to Padlet, but it gives us a few more options because of the ability to like annotate and draw. Whereas Padlet, we can do the dropping in like the Post-its type thing and moving those around. So if you go back to our resources for today. My goodness. When you're on the Jamboard, these introduction slides give you some really great ideas for using this across content areas and across content and grade levels. So this is something that you could use not only while you're face-to-face, you could also use it while you are virtual. So I'm going to scroll on down here so that I can show you some of the different samples. We have some math samples here where you can use algebra tiles, you can use Cuisenaire rods, we can do ELA, so you've got some highlight and annotation. You can do mind maps and brainstorming. Science, we can drag and drop the arrows, we can label a lab report, we can do some morning check-ins, we can do elementary, different ideas for elementary, and so lots of different options that you can do. Look at the music, write music on a score and play along, draw an adventure, discuss a technique. So you have so many options that you can do with this, and it's really it's so much fun. So I'm excited that Jamboard is an option for us because I think it answers a lot of questions as we move forward. And then Google Slides is another resource that we can really use to not only create, it can be what you use for instruction, but you can take it to the level of a hyperdoc where it's an entire lesson that the students can pace themselves through. You can use it for brainstorming. You can also use them to create those editable PDFs. And so as you're thinking about that collaboration, what is that going to look like with your learners, and how will they do that? And so these are those kinds of things to think about as you move forward. So questions about anything we've talked about, I will post the recording, so it's not like so I talked kind of fast, but lots of fun things. This assignment is the assignment that we are in is your teaching online Google Classroom best practices. And so it's going to give you all of those resources that we just talked about. Tomorrow we're going to dive into Google Slides and all the things that you can do with that. And the recordings will be posted. I think somebody asked, where will the recordings be posted? I will post them. I'm going to make a materials tab for you, and I'll post them in the materials. And so I'll say, I'll label them and they'll be in the materials. I'll also post in the stream. I won't have them post, but I will make a post in the stream that they are there. Okay. Questions?
I have a question on this. I'm clicking on the pen and I get a circle and it's not working. So what am I doing wrong for not being able to draw?
Where are you at? Which one are you in?
Jamboard.
I'm on Jamboard.
High school.
High school.
Okay, you're good. Okay, so when you click on the pen,
Yep.
And so then you're going to need to, there's like a little arrow there. Have you clicked on the little arrow?
Yes.
Okay, and then you've selected a pen.
Yep, selected a pen.
And then when you go off, do you see the dot or no dot?
Just, I see a dot.
Okay.
It just is, I'm moving it around, yeah, but I just see a dot, black dot.
All right, I don't see your black dot anymore. Go back to your black dot. What color dot is it?
Black. I suppose I could change the color. Now it's teal, blue,
Okay.
or whatever.
All right, so where are you at? All right, so press the,
I don't know where I'm at.
you have to use your left click to be able to draw.
The left click, yeah. That's right.
I know, but I'm using my left click.
I see it. You just did something.
You see that? Well,
I see a little teal dot.
yeah. Yeah, I thought maybe I hold down the.
Yep, left click and hold while you're drawing. Yep.
No, I'm not getting the draw, but you're seeing it anyway.
I see you drawing, I think.
I mean, I'm not able to. Nothing shows.
I can't tell because there's so many people doing different things. So Jenny, you'd like me to repeat everything? There's a recording for that.
Yeah. All right, do that later. I can look at it later.